Wolverines of Utah Valley. It'll be Chipper Beck. It's a good baseball name. He will lead off and play third. Hunter Kritschke, who is the big thumper on this team. He's got 7 homers. He will hit second. Caden Carpenter bats third and plays right field. The designated hitter is Mason Strong. Another Mason, Hamlin, will hit fifth and play second base. Derek Houston behind the plate will hit sixth. Jaden Smith in center field. Jimmy Deanda in left. DJ Massey is the shortstop and will bat ninth. And the starting pitcher for this Utah Valley team is Jacob Hepner, left-hander, and he doesn't have a whole lot of data so far. He's only pitched 13 innings, does not have a decision. ERA is on the high side of 6.23 on the season. For Stanford, a couple of changes at the bottom of the order. They've gone back and forth with some of these outfield spots, but it'll be Rintaro Sasaki back in the leadoff spot where he has grown comfortable over the last few weeks. He will play first base. Teddy Tokheim hitting second in left field. Charlie Bates is at shortstop. J.J. Moran is the third baseman. Jimmy Nadai, who is on a bit of a tear, he will bat fifth and play second. Eric Gian gets the start as the designated hitter. Luke Lavin behind the plate. Ethan Hott back in center field. He was the starter the first couple series of the year, seemed to sort of lose the grip on that starting spot, but he's been back in there the last few games. And Tatum Marsh will be the right fielder, and as I mentioned, it will be his little brother Quentin Marsh on the mound for the Cardinals.
The Marshes will be in the house this afternoon. And again, Stanford are wearing their white uniforms, the Cardinal inscriptions. And they come out today, and as you mentioned earlier, it's a kind of a sparse crowd as we're used to seeing down here at Sunken Diamond.
Yeah, I haven't been out here since the Fullerton series, and the big difference there is Cal State Fullerton always draws its own set of fans. So you had a pretty rowdy group of Titan backers down the left field line. Not so much with Utah Valley here today.
Yeah, I was suspicious that. But again, this is going to be a great opportunity on this beautiful afternoon for baseball. So what would you like to see from the Cardinal this afternoon, Scott?
Well, when I'm doing play-by-play, I want to see some long ball. And I think I've come to the right place because Stanford is on a great streak. They've hit multiple home runs now in 11 straight games. So after a slow start to the season in terms of the bats, the first series of the year they hit, the second the few series after that they really didn't, and now they've picked it up. They've got 30 home runs in the last 11 games, so I certainly wouldn't mind a continuation of that. But I think your point is well taken. You want to see a step forward in the pitching department, and just maybe David Esker stumbles onto something with the opener. Maybe this is as much psychological, as much mental as it is anything else. And Nick Dugan coming out of the pen, maybe he's a different version of himself.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'm looking at the lineup itself. You talked about it, the ability to create their own runs at the plate. Sasaki with 5 home runs, Takum with 4. I mean, you have a multitude of players either with 5 or 4. The only one that's less than 4 in the starting lineup is Luke Lavin. He has 3, and Ethan Hott has 1. So between the first 8, they have the opportunity to create their own run at the plate. So you always have a chance to score when you're on this side, on the offensive side. But on the defensive side, as you mentioned earlier, we want to see them play catch. We want to see clean innings, and we want to see shutdown innings as well. That's just as equally as important.
24 errors on the season for this Stanford defense. They've cleaned it up a bit lately. But you mentioned the balance throughout the lineup, and obviously you're a coach. That's what you like to see. You like balance top to bottom. Stanford has that, and it's also a bit unorthodox with a guy like Sasaki who can hit home runs as far as anybody in college baseball, batting in the leadoff spot.
Yeah, and on that note, he's not the traditional leadoff hitter because he's looking for the long ball or getting on base, but if he does get on first base, he's not able to advance in terms of the steal. So it kind of slows down. It's more of a base-to-base type of operation if he's not able to launch the long ball.
Well, and that's something else we'll talk about as the game goes along and Stanford gets some base runners. Heading into the season, I think the idea was to run more, because last year they didn't run much at all. And they came out in the first game of the year and stole 6 bases. And you think, all right, this is going to be a more aggressive team on the base paths, let's go. In the 18 games since, they've totaled 7 steals. So for one game, they became a more aggressive base running team. And obviously, as you mentioned, a guy like Sasaki at the top of the order, that's not going to be part of the plan. All right, we are ready to rock here at Sunken Diamond with Quentin Marsh on the bump, left-hander. Fastball change slider. He's not a hard thrower. He'll live in that 82, 85 range with the fastball. He's got to get by with location, mixing up pitches. And he will throw to Chipper Beck. Right-hand batter stands in, and we are underway. Game one of this four-game series, and Beck promptly skies one into the clouds, and it'll be fielded easily by Charlie Bates. One pitch, one out, and here we go.
That's a great start. Limit the traffic on the bags. One pitch, one out.
You know, it's not a great start, losing your pen after just one pitch. There it is. It'll be Hunter Katchke now, another right-hand batter, and this is a guy who you have to be careful with. He's got 7 home runs. He's got an OPS of 1150. First pitch is in there for a strike. 5 of those 7 home runs have come in the last 10 games, so swinging a hot stick.
And against a pitcher, as you mentioned earlier, who's going to pitch to contact.
The 0-1. Change up, strike 2. So, you got a youngster out there, a freshman, who hasn't pitched a lot of college innings. Good to see him pound the strike zone, get ahead of hitters.
It's important, just for the psychological aspect of it all, getting ahead, staying ahead.
The 0-2 is in the dirt. So 1-2.
As you mentioned earlier, Stanford will be on a opener, so the limited amount of pitches here is important because that'll allow him to get deeper into the game.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. And Marsh has his first strikeout of the afternoon. 78 miles an hour, good changeup, got him to fish. And there are 2 outs here in the first.
You know, I was listening to an interview with Maddox, and he was saying that, you know, you have guys that throw 80, 90, or 90 to 100 miles an hour, but it's important to be able to pitch, hit location, change the eye level, change speeds. And obviously he's a Hall of Famer. He knows what he's talking about. But oftentimes we can get fascinated on how fast a pitcher can throw the baseball. But again, when it's fast, it's straight, it's no movement.
Greg Maddux was somewhat of a unicorn in Major League Baseball, being as dominant as he was for all those years without a blazing fastball. But he did what you're talking about as well as anybody, ever.
Yeah, those conversations between him and talking about the at-bats with Barry Bonds are just classic. You can just go to school on those.
Caden Carpenter is the batter, and he looks at a pitch just off the corner. 1-2. Lefty on lefty, top of the first, just getting started. Slider is fouled at the plate. Carpenter remains alive, hitting an even 300. 4 home runs, 24 RBI on the season. And he has also been hot, hitting 438 in his last 10. He's actually the reigning WAC Player of the Week. So a hot hitter on a hot day. Slider up high, evens the count at 2-2.
Tried to throw that slider arm side. Carpenter didn't bite. As mentioned, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Carpenter has a good eye, has walked 15 times. He looks at that one just off the plate. A lot of groans from the Stanford dugout. It was a good pitch.
First 3 ball, 2 strikes. Count for Marsh early in the game. Started off great, first pitch. First, we got an out.
Chop foul. think this series is a good opportunity for Stanford to reset, and not just in terms of the way they shuffle the pitching staff and go with the openers. It's been obviously a rough start in ACC play at 1-5. This will give them maybe a bit of a mental break, knowing that these games do not count in the conference standings. And Marsh pumps the fist and walks off the mound after his second strikeout of the inning. So a terrific start for young Quentin Marsh. Nothing across, couple of Ks. Stanford coming up for the first time right after this. Bottom of the first inning here at Sunken Diamond, Stanford and Utah Valley. And the Cardinal will get their first look at Jacob Hepner. No record this year, an ERA of 6.23. He's a junior, left-hander. Throws a bit harder than his counterpart, Quentin Marsh. Fastball will get up to the high 80s, top out around 90. Also change, slider, and curveball. And his defense behind him, Hunter Katchke at first, Mason Hamlin at second, DJ Massey, the shortstop, Chipper Beck at third. The outfield, left to right, Jimmy DeAnda, Jaden Smith, and Caden Carpenter. Derek Houston is the catcher. And Rentaro Sasaki is the hitter. Stanford's first baseman sitting at 254, 5 home runs, 9 RBI. One thing they do like about him, and I think part of the reason he works in this leadoff spot, 17 walks, most on the team.
Yeah, that's a great eye that he does have. He's patient at the plate. But another area what I would be concerned is that he has 15 strikeouts from the leadoff position. So it's either...
There's some feast or famine.
It's feast or famine.
Pitches up, so it's 1-1.
But as you mentioned earlier, the idea of Stanford baseball this year, they were going to play small ball and attack the base pass, and this year they haven't been able to do so. So this kind of works out that that's not who they are.
Hunter Katchke fields underhands to Hepner, and we have one out in the first. And that, of course, is antithetical to what we've seen in the last couple of weeks when Stanford is playing the opposite of small ball. They're playing a lot of long ball, which is fine when you have multiple homers in 11 straight games. Again, they just haven't had the pitching to match. Teddy Tokheim, the left fielder, will bat second. Was not a starter for the first series and a half of this year, but he has moved into the starting lineup. Why? Because he's hitting .348 with 4 homers and an OPS of 1205. That'll play.
Yeah, that'll do it every time.
Right back up the middle, and Stanford has its first hit of the ball game.
On cue.
Right on cue. And that'll bring up the Palo Alto kid, Charlie Bates. Bates sitting at .329, 4 homers. You touched on it in the open. It is remarkable when you look at the home run distribution. I mean, from 1 to 6 in the lineup, 5, 4, 4, 4, 5, 4, then 3. I mean, that's remarkable.
That again, from a coaching perspective, you know you have a chance anytime someone steps into the plate to create their own run.
Well, and it makes it much more difficult from a pitching perspective because you can't really pitch around anybody knowing that just about everybody in this lineup can do damage.
Absolutely.
And the batting averages are equally impressive. Tatum Marsh has struggled at the bottom of the lineup, but other than that, this team's been hitting.
And that puts a lot of stress on you from a pitching perspective because you're constantly pitching through traffic on the base paths. And each pitch actually means something now. As you mentioned earlier, 1 through 9, they have a long lineup. You have your 7th hitter that has 1 home run, but...
And we have got a man picked off first base, so Tokheim got the first hit, and now he makes the second out as he succumbed to the pickoff move of Jacob Hepner. Sometimes those lefties are tricky, and Tokheim is erased.
And I'm sure that he was supposed to have a one-way lead in that situation because, again, it's something that they do in terms of Stanford, in terms of stealing bases. He hasn't attempted and had a steal this season, so that definitely goes against the current DNA of the team.
So now Bates with the bases empty and a 1-2 count. J.J. Moran waiting on deck. You talked about the importance of a struggling team in playing good defense. I think you can add good base running to that. Can't create outs on the base paths.
And those are the small things you look at in terms of base running, plays, in terms of PFPs, pitchers fielding practice as well. Those are all critical plays that go in the course of a game that comes back to haunt you.
2-2 does not get the outside corner. Boy, Bates was walking away. That was eerily similar to the 2-strike pitch on Caden Carpenter in the top of the first that we all thought was strike 3. So
yeah, absolutely.
Mike Mazza, the home plate umpire, not giving the outside corner, at least in the early going.
And as a batter, you like to know that. Now, from a batter perspective, that means that you could be a little bit more aggressive, understanding you can take pitches closer to the plate. But from a pitching perspective, that means that kind of shrinks the plate. Now you have to pitch more to contact.
You're a pitcher, all you want, consistency. Just stay consistent. And a good at bat there by Bates as he takes ball 4.
And I'm going to add a different one on that. The pitchers want consistency, but they want a wide play.
Well, yes, they want that too.
That's the main thing they want.
They will settle for consistency.
They will settle for consistency, but give me a wide plate. That's what I want.
Yeah, exactly. If it's in the zip code, I want the strike.
I want the strike. That's what I want.
Here's Moran. JJ hitting .333, 4 homers, 13 runs batted in. And kind of an awkward swing at a changeup. It's 0-1.
Well, I'm sure Bates has been told, listen, you need to get a one-way lead.
Yeah.
Do not get picked off. But out of everyone, he's 2 for 4.
He's got a couple of steals. This is true.
So they may try to get him in a scoring position, but early in the game, we'll see.
Now, opposing base runners against Utah Valley are 27 for 30, 90%. So that would suggest there might be an opportunity to run a little bit today, but, with a lefty on the mound who clearly has a pretty good pickoff move.
Yeah, that's a great point. So specific people will have probably the opportunity. You're talking about Bates, Moran, and Natai. Those are your runners that may have a chance to advance on the steal.
Well, Bates is drawing an awful lot of attention over there, that's for sure. Especially for a guy with 2 steals. Just getting started on a beautiful, very warm day here in Northern California. And a pop-up foul territory, a whole lot of room, and it's going to be Ketchke, the first baseman, who makes the play in front of the Stanford dugout, and the side is retired. No runs, a hit, and a man left. After 1, no score at Stanford. Back at Sunken Diamond, inning number 2, and Mason Strong to lead off the top of the second. Against Quentin Marsh, who is fantastic. 3 up, 3 down in the first. Low and away, ball 1. I would guess that David Esker would be thrilled with 2 scoreless innings from his freshman starter before he turns it over to presumably Nick Dugan, although we don't know for sure.
Well, coming in, he only thrown 13 pitches. You like that. Now if you can have a duplicate inning, get in and out, and Stanford back into the offensive side.
And there's a base hit right field. So Strong gives the Wolverines their first base runner. 86, outer part of the plate, just did a nice job poking it into right field.
Did a great job of allowing the baseball to travel. As they say, you hit them where they ain't. Did a great job of just placing it right in the right field, right in front of his brother, Tatum Marsh.
Maybe his brother looked bored.
What?
Give him something to do.
Yeah, give him something to do out there.
Here.
Mason Hamlin, senior second baseman, takes a strike. Started all 18 games, hitting .306, couple of homers, 7 RBI.
I know this one. It's good to keep an eye on.
Good lead over at
I don't know
first
who that
base.
is, but
And Hamlin squares to bunt, pulls it back.
Think of Stanford.
no. Oh, what? So I would have it around?
He does not have a sacrifice this season. Strong, by the way, is a threat to take off, and Marsh knows it. 6 steals in 8 attempts. This is a Utah Valley team which, unlike Stanford, has been proficient on the base paths. They've stolen 41 out of 56.
And they have 3 members in the starting lineups. 3, 4, and 5 each have 6 stolen bases.
Slider, outside part of the plate. Strike 2.
Great opportunity for a nice 6-4-3, 4-6-3, or 5-4-3 double play.
Stanford has only given up 17 stolen bases, so they don't steal a lot, but they also don't allow opponents to run. Lavin's been terrific back there, so much better this season in throwing out base runners.
Yeah, I remember his freshman year. Now the junior, watching him maturate over the years, continuing to ascend.
Another throw to first, Strong getting dirty over there, but no real drama, gets back easily.
And as you mentioned earlier, I mean, his lead is outstanding.
Yeah, it's an aggressive lead.
And he has 1 foot.
There it is. There it is. He draws an errant pickoff throw. Strong's going to go to second. He's going to round it and thought about going to third and wisely held up. So we talked about the importance of the little things. Solid defense, base running. That's a potentially harmful occurrence for the Cardinal. And now you got a man on second, nobody out. It is 2-2, so the bunt is probably off the table trying to get him to third. And we'll see what Marsh can do now. Forget about the runner and go after the hitter. Well, you can't forget about him, but go after the hitter.
And Marsh is doing a great job of distracting. Strong is doing a great job of distracting Marsh because he's constantly looking at him, and his lead is huge. He's basically following the shortstop, Charlie Bates. So they may try to run some inside action with the second baseman, try to keep him close to the bag.
Another 2-2 and another foul ball.
And another foul ball down the right field line.
Yeah.
So they're doing a great job of staying inside the baseball.
Yeah, the opposite field approach has been evident early on.
And the most important thing, as you mentioned earlier, with 2 strikes, the bunt is taken away. So the job of the next hitter is to get the ball to the right side.
Yep.
So Hamlin is intentional in trying to get to the right side.
There goes the runner. Lavin's throw to third, sails into left field, and that's going to be the first run of the ball game. So Mason Strong, creating havoc on the base paths, has just stolen a run for Utah Valley.
And that reminds you of the old Ricky run. Able to get on first base, create havoc, a wild throw to first, your first error, you come right back with another error. So that's 2 errors in the inning, and that's the old Ricky run, 1-0.
Errors on the pitcher and
Ricky
catcher.
Run. I didn't know it had a name.
Now a 3-2 pitch, and it's strike 3. So a silver lining is that Marsh gets his 3rd strikeout. If he'd done that a couple of pitches ago, could have been a runner on first, no run in, 1 out, and very little danger.
Absolutely.
Instead, it's 1-0.
And Mason, that run is all about Mason Strong, getting on first base, creating havoc, creating the wild throw, advancing to second. And you know what was critical about that? You mentioned earlier, if he would have tried to go to third, it would have been a chance he would have been thrown out by Sasaki's throw to third. Stayed at second. Understand, you never want to be the first or third out at third base.
That is good baseball wisdom. Fly ball to the elder Marsh in right field. Can of corn, as they say. So 2 down. And that'll bring up Jaden Smith. Center fielder, comes in at 267, does not have a home run, just 4 RBI. And he looks at a strike. So Marsh really peppering the outside part of the plate.
And it looks as though that the umpire is favoring the arm side outside of the plate versus the opposite side at first.
Well, with a couple of lefties on the mound. That was inside and low.
Because the 2 strikes that we thought were strikes were on the inside part of the right-handed batter. So it looks like he's favoring the arm side of the pitchers.
Shot to third. Easy play from Moran. And the side is retired. So 1 run, 1 hit, 2 errors. Nobody left on base. And after an inning and a half, it is 1-0 Wolverines. Scott Reese, Dr. Joaquin Wallace back with you here at Sunken Diamond on a toasty Saturday afternoon. It is 1-0 Utah Valley, an unearned run charged to Quentin Marsh, who may be done for the day. Gave him 2 good innings. We do have action down in the pen. I can't see a jersey number, but a right-hander warming. Again, I would presume it's Nick Dugan, but I cannot confirm. I can confirm that Jacob Hepner is out for his 2nd inning for Utah Valley. And he will face Jimmy Nadeye, Eric John, and Luke Lavin.
Well, you have to tip your hat to the Wolverines, was able to get a leadoff single.
Yeah.
And Strong pretty much created his own run all by himself.
They stole a run.
Stole a run, as I said, the old Ricky run. And as you mentioned earlier, unearned run. And that may be the last inning for the younger Marsh. But again, it came across the air, as we talked about it earlier. You have to have the ability to play catch. If you don't do that, you can't give teams extra outs.
So Jimmy Nadeye steps in, 292, but he's been better than that lately. He's got a 7-game hit streak, 5 home runs, 17 RBI. And he takes a strike to begin the 2nd. Nadeye, the junior from Australia, the senior from Australia.
You know, Scott, it's interesting, I've been covering Stanford baseball for the last 9 years and watch these kids maturate right in front of your face. Remember when they were freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors. Wow, I just remember when they were so young down on the farm. It shows you how much long in the tooth that I've got. That's what that basically suggests.
You're getting younger. Fly ball center field. Jaden Smith camps under it, and we have 1 out in the 2nd.
But this is an important inning for the Wolverines. We always talk about the shutdown inning. You want to keep the momentum in your dugout. Stanford's job is to level this game or take the lead if possible in the bottom half of the 2nd inning.
They'll bring up Eric John, the designated hitter. 4 home runs, just 6 RBI to go with those 4 homers. Is hitting .333, Another one of these Stanford players who was not a regular at the start of the season and has now carved out a regular role.
Yeah, played his way into the lineup. Only 27 at-bats, but and highly efficient.
Well, because he has at-bats like that, but that's a great play by DJ Massey at shortstop, taking a hit away from John.
Anytime you can pitch to contact, you have to rely on your players behind you to make plays, and it's a great job by Massey leaving his feet, taking a sure base hit away from John.
Luke Lavin going 90s hair metal for his walk-up music.
What would have been your walk-up music, Scott?
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna ask that one. Wow. What is your walk-up music?
I have never given that a lick of thought.
Well, I'm gonna give you until the top
okay,
of the third
I was gonna say you got to give me.
I'm gonna give you to the third inning.
Well, we're that's about 60 seconds because the inning just ended. Stanford nothing across. Another strong inning for Jacob Hepner. We're back for that third inning after this. It's 1-0 Utah Valley. Back at Sunken Diamond in a 1-0 ball game, top three, and Stanford has gone to the bullpen, but it is not their traditional Friday starter, Nick Dugan. It is another bullpen arm. Torin O'Haron comes out of the pen. 1-1 this season with a 4.73 earned run average. 7 walks, 10 strikeouts in 11 1/3 innings.
So you had time to think. You cannot get out of this.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
What is your
walk-up? I know there's no dodging. If I had a lot of time to think, I might come up with something different. But top of my head, I'm thinking back to me in high school baseball.
Okay.
So I'm going back to the 80s.
Okay.
And I probably would have gone something, heavy-ish. I would like Photographed by Def Leppard or something with the chords at the top of the thing.
So you're going.
I think I would have gone.
You're a metalhead.
But not a metalhead. But I think that for this scenario, if walking up to the plate, you want to get jacked a little bit. That's where I would. That would be my instinct right now.
Hey, listen, everyone's different.
Like I said, you give me another 5 innings, I might come up with something different.
Okay, we're going to revisit this in the 8th.
I'll forget about it by then. You got to give me yours too.
I am after this pitch here.
All right.
I'm going with Careless Whisper.
Wow, other end of the spectrum.
Yes.
80s music.
Yes, because I want to be relaxed.
Interesting.
Coming to the plate.
Very interesting.
Remember Josh Reddick from the 80s?
Yes, that's right. Careless Whisper. That's right.
And that just took everyone a guess. Like, what is this guy doing, right? Because you want to be relaxed when you come to the plate. You can't be too hyped stepping in the box.
Jimmy Deanda flies one to left. No problem for Teddy Tokheim, and we have 1 out. It also divulges that we were both children of the 80s.
And, well, we didn't have to say our ages,
Yep.
but that lets everyone know that we were in high school in the 80s. Whether it's the early or late, but they know that we were in high school during that time. And I am an 83 guy. I graduated in 83.
High school? Okay.
You thought I was going to say 76?
No.
Me and Ricky Anderson graduated together.
You can tell I'm working with an A's fan with the number of Ricky references in the first 3 innings.
Don't get me started. I told you that I was crying like a 2-year-old in the last game a couple years back. You know, they did a documentary on that.
On you crying?
Well, yeah, well, that too. But they have a documentary. Someone did a documentary, and they submitted to Sundance. My daughter was telling me.
On the A's,
oh, no, the last game.
Oh, the last game.
The last game.
I
can't
can see
wait
it.
to see it, yeah.
DJ Massey, the batter. And DJ Massey with a 4-pitch walk. So that's the last thing you want if you're Torin O'Haron. You come out of the pen, you get the first guy with ease, and then 4 straight balls. And now there's a base runner, and the lineup turns over. First walk of the day for either team. Chipper Beck popped out to shortstop in the first. Up and in, ball 1 with a fastball.
And one thing that I've noticed thus far, when they have runners on first base, they are very aggressive with their original leads. So they're not taking one-way leads.
And Massey, right on cue. In fact, I was a tad late because I was looking down to see how many steals he has on the year. And as I'm looking, he steals second base.
So they're extremely aggressive, and the pitching coach should go out and talk to O'Haron.
And I can tell you that's his 5th steal of the year.
So they're aggressive. They're getting runners in scoring position, playing small ball. Now we'll see if they're able to advance the runner, even though it's 1 out. So their job basically is try to get the ball to the right side before maybe that between that 3-4 hole.
Well, 41 steals as a team, now 43 if you count this game in 19 games and 3 innings. So that's more than 2 an inning.
You're trying to say that
more than 2 a game.
They're out and running.
This is what they do.
This is what they do.
Right.
And this is what Stanford wanted to do, as you mentioned earlier. 6 stolen bases the first game of the season.
Well,
not been able to recapture that.
You also have to have an offensive identity. This team does not hit a lot of home runs.
Absolutely.
Right? They've only got 21 homers on the year, so that's 1 a game.
So Stanford is taking on the old Earl Weaver approach. 3-run home run. Get on, get a couple of runners home, and we're going to try to jack it out of the park. Create left turns.
Well, to some degree, this is strength on strength because I told you that Stanford defensively has been very good at limiting opposing base runners. But Luke Lavin threw 1 ball into left field, and that time he didn't catch the pitch, so there was no play. So we still don't know what might have happened on either play had there been a successful throw down to a base. Meanwhile, it's 2-1 to Chipper Beck, the leadoff man.
They're doing a great job of being aggressive. You mentioned earlier. You see if Stanford can try to limit the damage here to no runs.
Chopper to third. Candy hop for J.J. Moran. Runner holds. 1 out. 2 outs, excuse me.
Moran did a great job, Scott, of looking the runner back to second base and firing it over to first, keeping that runner at bay.
Hunter Katchke coming to the plate now with his 7 home runs, 14 RBI.
This is the one guy, if you do not want to allow to hurt you, between him and Carpenter, 2 and 3. Between those two, they have 11 home runs.
Watched him batting practice. He was wearing the warm-up jersey, and it had number 99 on the back. his game jersey is number 7. He looked bigger when he was wearing 99.
Yeah, well, you know, a lot of people
Who?
look bigger at
The
99.
grass is so
I
tall.
will look
it's
bigger at
too
99. You will look bigger at 99.
Oh, it
99
is?
an
Okay.
imposing number. And there's a guy in the major league that wears 99 too, I do believe.
I do believe you are correct, and I do believe he is fairly imposing.
And
And I don't think it's because of the number.
No, he's a large fellow, as they say. He carries a big bat. Did you happen to watch the World Baseball Classic?
I saw a good chunk of it.
Great baseball.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Shot to center field. Ethan Hott puts it away, and the side is retired. No runs, no hits, 1 man left. 2.5 in the books here at Sunken. Still 1-0 Utah Valley. One nothing Utah Valley, bottom 3 at Sunken Diamond on the beautiful campus of Stanford University. Jacob Hepner out for his 3rd inning of work. So far, he has kept the Cardinal hitters at bay, giving up just 1 base runner. That was a base hit to Teddy Tokheim to lead off in the 1st inning. He will face 8-9-1 in the Cardinal order. Ethan Hott, Tatum Marsh, and Rintaro Sasaki.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier, so far so good for Hepner. 24 pitches thrown. He's only given up 1 hit. I recall listening to Ethan Hott's walk-up song last year, and it's the same one, Getting Hot in Here.
There you go. Well, it kind of fits.
It kind of fits.
Yeah, on multiple levels today. The guy with the most appropriate name in the facility today. Hepner, left-hander. Fastball over for strike 2. So getting ahead of hitters. Mixing up pitches. Throws 4 different pitches. Soft stuff upstairs.
So far, he's only faced 1 over the limit.
Yep.
He also helped himself by picking off baits.
Hmm?
I didn't see
Got on in a walk in the 1st inning. Strayed a little bit too far, and Hepner was able to pick him off and
what's
kind of
been
thwarted that.
Oh, that.
potential rally. Anyway.
Home hub though.
So Hott has worked the count full after falling behind 0-2.
So
Not
yeah,
ever.
I have to log into the home hub.
Well, there's nothing to do there. No. You can't.
Skies 1 to center.
Okay.
Once again, like every other
You
fly
can't do
ball
that.
so far today, pretty much right at the outfielder. Jaden Smith puts it away for the 1st out.
Stanford has yet to get their leadoff hitter on. And it's the 2nd consecutive inning that he started off the inning with a fly ball to Smith, as you mentioned earlier, in center field. So he's been pretty active so far. A couple of putouts.
So here's Tatum Marsh, and Stanford would really like to get him going. Comes in hitting just 190 with 1 run batted in on the season. It's a guy who last year hit over 370.
And baseball is a tricky game because having been in the batter box several times, sometimes that baseball, as they say, look big as a watermelon. And then sometimes it's like an aspirin. And I'm sure right now it's looking like an aspirin. You know, and next thing you know, Scott, before you know it, you're down 0-2 every time you step in the box. And it could take just one good swing to get you out of your slump. Just one good swing. It could be a line out. That one swing can get you on a reset.
Curveball outside. Hepner wanted it, but it seemed pretty clear it was off the plate, possibly high as well. The 2-2 to Marsh. That's ball 3. So both of the first 2 hitters fell behind 0-2, worked at 3-2. Hott put a good swing on a baseball, flied out to center. We'll see what happens with Tatum Marsh.
Love to turn his lineup over with Sasaki with a runner at first base.
Absolutely. Stays alive on the breaking ball.
Because then when that happens, Scott, as you mentioned earlier, you have the length of the lineup, the power starting from the top, 5 home runs by Sasaki, and then from there you have 5, 4, 4, 4, 5, 4. So they have guys that can create left turns.
And just as the doctor ordered, ball 4, take your base. Well, this is the kind of day where you just wonder how far Sasaki could hit a baseball. Right?
Yeah, and
that pool is looking mighty inviting, not just for us, but for that baseball as well.
I agree with that, and the wind is blowing out. You look at the batter's eyes, the fly is going straight out to center field, so, I mean, he can get a hold of one.
Boy.
That's coming right back to us.
That's coming right back at us.
I told you.
And it actually came in the press box. Do you know how hard it is
to make that happen?
To make that.
I've never seen that before.
That is
right there. I knew it was coming.
That is almost physically impossible, what just happened. To get it back over the netting as Sasaki scorches one to left field, but again, right at an outfielder. Jimmy DeAnda makes the play. I mean, you got to understand the netting is, 60 feet high, 70 feet high here at Sunken Diamond. To get it over the netting and yet come down at an angle where it can somehow get into this press box is almost impossible.
And it hit right in front of him.
It hit right there. There's the dent.
Right there, right in front of me. You can see the stitching.
Yeah, that's the stitching on the baseball right here. Yep. If only we had a camera in the press box. And Tokheim lifts one high in the sky, and that'll be caught by the first baseman Katchke, and once again Stanford goes quietly in the third. No runs, no hits, a walk, a man left. 1-0 Utah Valley coming back for inning 4.
Welcome back. Top of the 4th inning, Stanford trailing 1-0, and we had some excitement in the press box with my broadcast partner. I said it was coming back. Scott Race was looked at me like, are you kidding me? And the degree of difficulty.
The odds of that were so long that
I've never seen that in all the years I've been calling Stanford baseball. But you never know. As they say, you never know what you're going to see when you come to
the ballpark.
Yeah,
that's the beauty of baseball. Might see something you've never seen before.
And we've seen something
we have
this afternoon. 3, 4, and 5 up for the Wolverines. They 1-0 lead.
Well, you wanted your 2-1 game, and we're sort of on pace for that.
Well, we are. Second inning, they was able to score. And there was a first pitch swinging base hit by Carpenter in the left field. That's only the second hit of the afternoon. Wolverines was able to score in the top of the second as Strong walked and created a couple opportunities. An error on Marsh, and then he was able to get to second base and then stole third, and then Lavin threw it in the left field, and next thing you know, 1-0 for the Wolverines. So Strong will step in, who scored the only run you mentioned earlier this afternoon. Came into the game 254, takes a pitch from the outside corner. Strike one. So Scott, we talked about the 1-0, 2-1, 3-2, 4-3. We like to see it on the Stanford side with the win. Still early. Heron, his runner takes off again, hit and run, back up the middle. Heron throws it to second for one, back to first, double play.
And O'Haron is sprinting off the field, not realizing there's only 2 outs.
Yeah, Heron's so excited.
So
but
excited.
See what he does? Now he's acting like he's tying his
Well, I
shoe.
hope he's not hurt.
Well, he may be hurt. He was so excited.
Okay.
He looked like a kangaroo coming off the field, but it's too late, and he is down. That could be unfortunate.
I mean, I won't say I've never seen that before, but that's something else you won't see very often. A pitcher, after starting a double play, sprinting off the field with 2 outs and injuring himself in the process, and now he scampers back to the mound, and it looks like he's okay.
I think he's more embarrassed.
It was part. I think
he's more embarrassed.
I think it was.
That's one of those you have to play it off.
You have to play it. I
You
better
have to play it
stay
off.
down
You
here
gotta
for a
stay down
second.
just for a second. Now, the Wolverines is giving him what for because they've never seen that before. But there's our first double play for the Cardinal. A 1-6-3 timely.
Well,
on the hit and run, too.
On the hit and run, which made it a really good play and a really risky play, because that was bang bang at second and very easily could have blown that whole thing up, choosing to try and get 2 instead of getting the sure out at first, but it worked out and the bases are empty.
So 2 outs, just like that. Ground ball by Strong back up the box. You know, Heron did a great job of not panicking.
Well, and here's the other thing. Utah Valley ran themselves into a double play and potentially out of an inning, because if that runner is not going, that baseball's in center field. You got 2 on and nobody out. But because Nadi was there covering second, it was right at him.
Great call.
Sometimes
it works out that way.
Sometimes the baseball gods just smile upon you.
So now the Wolverines will have to reset with 2 outs. A promising inning. Base hit by Carpenter, his first of the afternoon after striking out first time. Fouled at the plate off the puppies of Lavin. The umpire's going to step out to give him some time. Just to give him some time. Now he's going to probably clean off the plate. Typically they clean the plate off.
Catchers are indestructible.
I guess he says, I'm good. I'm good. So Hamlin struck out looking his first time at the plate. Came in 306 on the season. Pitches up. That will be ball.
That was a
4.
close pitch.
So that's the first walk given up by O'Haron since coming into, actually the second walk since coming into the game. And Houston will step in, the catcher. Flied out to right his first time.
Well,
Right at the tracks of Marsh.
And again, speaks to the length to which that double play changed the entire complexion of this inning. If that ball gets through to center field, and again, you don't know if the sequence would play out the same, but you got 2 on, nobody out, and then a walk, and you got bases loaded, nobody out. We could be sitting here right now with that situation. Instead, it's a relatively mild threat of a runner on first with 2 outs.
Absolutely. And Hamlin, who is 6 for 6 stolen bases on the season, so he's going to try to get himself in scoring position. And they've been successful running so far this afternoon outside of the last time. Ground ball is short, and that will be the 3rd out of the inning. An eventful inning in itself. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 runner left on. As we head to the bottom of the 4th inning, Stanford trailing 1-0. Welcome back, bottom of the 4th inning. Stanford 3, 4, and 5 will face Jacob Hepner, who's been outstanding so far. Has not given up a run. Has only given up 1 hit. And Charlie Bates, first time to the plate, walked and was picked off of first base. Stanford trails 1-0. Bottom of the 4th inning. First pitch swinging. Lifted to right field. That's Carpenter. He singled his last time to the plate. The first out of the inning.
Well, these Stanford bats that were pretty hot coming into the game have not sizzled so far today. Credit to Jacob Hepner keeping them off balance.
Yeah, Hepner's been outstanding. Throwing strikes, getting ahead, limiting all traffic on the bases. The one time that Stanford was able to get on the base pass. picked off Bates. First pitch taken low, ball 1. Jimmy Natai is on deck. Moran popped to third. I'm sorry, to first time in plate. Katchke swung on and fouled to the plate. Count even, 1 ball and 1 strike. And we're still just kind of marveling over that ball coming into the press box.
You should autograph the dent.
I know, I should.
Since you were in the line of fire.
I was definitely in line of fire. Line drive down the right field line. But I was looking for you to kind of come over the cross and kind of save your guy.
Well,
over
like
here.
I said,
you just left me you just left me hanging, as they say.
If I had the shades on and I was able to actually look up and find the baseball, I would have grabbed it for you. Not only would I have saved you, I would have caught it.
There it is. It is lifted in the right field. In comes the right field. That will fall.
Yeah, he got a bad jump on that.
So a base hit by Moran, as you mentioned earlier, did not see the ball coming off the bat well as Caden Carpenter, and that would be a base hit.
Carpenter broke back, which is what they teach you to do, is first step back, but that was a little too much first step back. Couldn't motor in and make the play. So Stanford gets kind of a bloop single. They'll take it. Second hit of the afternoon.
See what they can do with that. Natai came in with a 7-game hit streak. See if he can get on track. Get some action on the base pass for the Cardinals. Try to get back in this game. First pitch is taken up. 1 ball and no strikes. Natai, one of those Stanford Cardinal, has 5 home runs, 17 RBIs on the season. Pitch is lifted foul down the right field line. Third on the team in hits, actually second on the team in hits with 21. Trailing both Bates and Moran, 24. Now tack 25th hit on the season for Moran. So he'll take a 1-hit lead in that category. Pitch is swung on and missed.
A lot of balls in the air today from Stanford hitters, which tracks with their recent home run stretch.
And Hepner is up in the zone as well, so it kind of plays to that. And Stanford getting into this somewhat jet stream. I mean, these are games typically at Sunken Diamond where there's a runner takes off, ball in the dirt, throw down, and that will go into center field. And that will be a wild pitch. The runner advances to second. That's Moran.
Aggressive base running by JJ. Saw the ball in the dirt, but it didn't get very far away from the catcher, Derek Houston. And in fact, a good throw would have been a close play at second, but he airmailed it.
But that's what you want to do. You want to have a great secondary lead.
Yep.
And he was able to see it off the dirt.
Well, and you have to make a quick decision.
You have to make a real quick decision because if you stagger just a second, you may not go. You get thrown out of second base. There's a daylight play inside. Runner gets back. Runner in scoring position. It's the first runner Stanford has had at second base all afternoon long. So Moran has a chance here to score a run if Natai is able to deliver. Pitch is lifted foul.
I got this one.
Again, I see you're moving over here now. The anxiety in the press box was shown. Everyone moved scattering around. And my partner was moving on my side, but he was inning late. Could have easily got injured. You're going to hold that against you. I'm going to see you again. And we're going to talk about this. Pitch is up.
Stanford might have had a runner on second base in the first inning. Teddy Tokheim singled, got picked off, and the next batter, Bates, walked. That thwarted a potential rally.
Pitch is lifted in the infield. Not an infield fly. And that will be the second out of the inning. If you're scoring, you either go F6 or P6.
And another ball in the air.
So Jen would step in, a designated hitter, lined to short. Massey did a great job of diving to his left, to be to his right, and took a base hit away from Jones. Runner at second base, pitch is taken outside.
It's actually kind of remarkable. There have been 11 outs recorded by Stanford hitters today. No strikeouts, 1 ground ball. The other 10 have been in the air.
And if you look through their lineup, they have a lot of strikeouts in their lineup itself. So again, kind of bodes to the strength of Hepner as he pitches up in the zone. Stanford typically will connect on a opportunity for the long ball, but thus far they've been held in check.
Somebody's going to put one over the fence. It's coming.
Inside pick, keeping the runner close at second base. Moran, who singled, the second hit on the afternoon for the Cardinal. Cardinal is trying to tie this game, level this game at 1.
My goodness. You don't often see 3 pickoff plays to second base in succession.
So typically, just from a coaching perspective, what's that's basically suggesting that their outfielders may not have strong arms.
Well, it also is curious. A, Stanford doesn't run a lot. B, there are 2 outs. And you made the point earlier, you don't want to make the third out of an inning on third base. The odds are very slim that he's taking off to try and steal third. So yes, this is to keep him close and maybe not score on a base hit. But it is a very curious situation to have this many throws to second base.
And also, you're taking the concentration away from the batter.
Correct.
Which is the most important person right now is the person at the plate. Swung on strike 2. So we'll see how it plays out. Sometimes we can overcoach games. We'll see how Coach Rasmussen played this out. Second season as the skipper. And lifted again. That will be to center field.
Clockwork.
And that will be the third out of the inning for Stanford. No runs, 1 hit. No errors, 1 runner left on as we head to the top of the 5th inning. Stanford still trails 1-0. Welcome back. Stanford. Sunken Diamond, beautiful afternoon for baseball. Saturday afternoon for baseball. This is the first of 4. It's the Utah Valley Wolverines. Me and my broadcast partner, Scott Race. I'm still kind of upset with, but that's okay. We'll get over that. I need to move on with that. But Stanford will be introducing a new pitcher.
Yeah, Parker Warner comes in with a bloated ERA of 8.56, 13 innings, has struck out 13. Record of 0-2, and we were led to believe that the option to start the game with Quentin Marsh was in the capacity as an opener, and that Nick Dugan would come in and pitch the bulk of the innings, and in fact that has not transpired. This has now become just a good old-fashioned bullpen game for the Cardinal.
Yeah, well, Heron's afternoon is done. 2 innings pitched, 1 hit, 1 run, actually no runs, and 3 walks, and no strikeouts. So his afternoon is done.
Jaden Smith leading it off here in the 5th. It's been a quick-moving game. I guess that'll happen when it's 1-0.
And that's what we asked for. We get 7, 8, and 9 for the Wolverines. Smith 5-3 his first time at the plate. Swung on and missed. It's actually fouled down the third baseline. So if you look at the scoreboard, I mean, if you look at the line score, 0-1, 0-0, 1-2-0, 0-0-0-0, 0-2. But what sticks out is the 2 errors, which led to the only run of the afternoon.
Well, and they were the non-conventional errors, pitcher and catcher in the same inning. Bad pickoff throw to first, and an air-mailed throw on a stolen base attempt down the left field line that led to the only run of the game.
And I asked for a 1-0, 2-0 game, 2-1. So I'm getting it right
There
now.
you are, yep.
But we would like to see Stanford on the other end of that. But right now we have plenty of baseball remaining.
Well, and you want to see clean baseball. We talked about that at the top of the broadcast. It's a Stanford team that has not played complete baseball. They have hit in recent weeks. They have not pitched well. Earlier in the season, the pitching was better. The offense slumped. So we haven't seen it all come together, but the defense has to be constant.
Absolutely.
And it hasn't been today.
And as you said earlier, this would be a great opportunity for the Cardinal to reset. Coming out of the ACC, currently they're not where they want to be. They're 1-5, and now they have an opportunity to reset, take the stress away. Understand this is not a conference game. Pitch is strike 3.
Good pitch.
The outside corner.
93 on the black.
So that will be the first out of the top of the 5th inning. DeAnder will step in.
Warner's got decent stuff. He'll top out around 94, and again, strikeout per inning guy, so he does have swing and miss stuff.
And they may be waiting to bring Dugan in if they get the lead, too. See if he can pitch with the lead.
Yeah,
We'll see.
I'm beyond trying to figure it out at this point. This is also, there's a lot of experimentation going on right now with this pitching staff.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
And they've done the job. They've given themselves a chance. Pitches outside. But most importantly, they've given them an opportunity to score runs.
And remember, this is a 4-game series, so it is also entirely possible that they will simply pitch Dugan in Game 2 tomorrow, either as a starter or as a bulk guy.
That is an option.
Sort of feels the way it's going. Like, if we haven't seen him by now, my guess is we won't today.
I would suspicion that as well. We're in the 5th inning, so definitely don't want to waste his opportunity. You have a full 7, they could throw him tomorrow. Pitches outside. So Warner comes in immediately and strikes out, looking Smith. DeAnder has a chance here to get on the base path. Pitch is lifted down the right field line. Giving chase is Marsh, and that will be
Made the catch.
caught by Marsh, a sliding catch down the right field line. So Tatum Marsh didn't give up on it. Ball hung up for him. Went into the slide and made the catch for the second out of the inning.
That was big time. A full sprint toward the Stanford bullpen. Did it exactly like they teach you. Go into a slide right as you get to that warning track area, and he seamlessly corralled the baseball.
I like that word. I like that word. Seamlessly. Sounds like you do news somewhere.
I'm a
It
word.
looks like I've seen you.
I'm a
before.
wordsmith.
Yeah, I can tell. Seamless. Pitches up for a called strike 1. 0-1 to DJ Massey. Outside of Marsh, he had the play of the game defensively, but I think Marsh trumped his.
I would say so.
Pitch is lifted. Again, down the right field line. What I've seen a lot, and I'm sure you can echo this, is a lot of foul balls down the right field line.
Yeah.
So both teams are late, and they're letting the ball travel. Typically don't see that many fouls down the right field
In the
line.
same spot,
In
yeah.
the same spot. This has been consistent.
Yeah.
Pitch is outside, just off the plate.
It was off the plate, but Warner wanted it. Didn't get it.
Well, I thought he was going to do the same
Sprint off the field.
O'Haron, who I'm sure he's going to get talked about in the dugout.
That would be doing it with 2 strikes would be worse than doing it with 2 outs.
And that's the first hit batsman of the afternoon.
Curveball just
But they said that's an out because they said that Massey went into the pitch.
interesting.
So that will be the third out of the inning. So no runs, no hits, no errors, no runners left on as we head to the bottom of the fifth inning.
Nate Rasmussen's going to have a conversation between innings.
I'm sure he is. And hopefully he's still in the game when we come back from break. Stanford trails 1-0. So we are back because the Wolverines are challenging the strike, the interference. And Stanford now has retaken the field. So that's strange. Sort of kind of milling around. So you have some guys milling around talking. But what's important is Massey has a bat in his hand. Now he's walking to first. And now he's taking off all of his gear. So we'll see how this plays out. But again, when you come to the ballpark, Scott, you may see something that you haven't seen before. This is one that I have yet to see. Have you seen this one before?
Well, maybe.
Okay. Well, we'll see because we don't know what the outcome is.
We don't know what the outcome is yet. I'm wondering, we don't have a monitor.
Okay. But I'm using your eagle eye.
No, I understand.
Right now.
My point is, I don't know if the folks at home can see replays.
Oh, I see where you're going. I see where you're going.
So it's possible they're looking at it and saying, yeah, of course, you dummies. Of course you did it. We can't see it. We don't have...
I'm expecting your eagle eye and your replay and your photographic memory to kind of give us what you think it is.
Yeah, I mean, it looked to me like, the ball is a curveball that had...
So we are back because the Wolverines are challenging the strike, the interference, and Stanford now has retaken the field. So that's strange. Sort of kind of milling around. So you have some guys milling around talking. But what's important is Massey has a bat in his hand. Now he's walking to first. And now he's taking off all of his gear. So we'll see how this plays out. But again, when you come to the ballpark, Scott, you may see something that you haven't seen before. This is one that I have yet to see. Have you seen this one before?
Well, maybe.
Okay. Well, we'll see because we don't know what the outcome is.
We don't know what the outcome is yet. I'm wondering, we don't have a monitor.
Okay. But I'm using your eagle eye.
No, I understand. Right now. My point is, I don't know if the folks at home can see replays.
Oh, I see where you're going. I see where you're going.
So it's possible they're looking at it and saying, yeah, of course, you dummies. Of course you did it. We can't see it. We don't have...
I'm expecting your eagle eye and your replay and your photographic memory to kind of give us what you think it is.
Yeah, I mean, it looked to me like, the ball is a curveball that broke inside and hit him, and I thought it was better take your base.
Well, the chicken wing.
Yeah, and I don't...
Let's see.
Let's see. All right, they're upholding the call.
There it is. They're upholding the call.
Interesting. So they must have seen exactly what you described. And that's not something I have seen more of in the major leagues. Batter did not make an attempt to get out of the way. You don't see the intentionally throwing your arm into the pitch.
No, it's the arm. It was a chicken wing.
The chicken wing, right?
Yeah. The chicken wing.
Yeah. Anyway, all right.
Anyway, so you know what? We're going to do it again.
We're going to do it again.
Listen, bottom of the fifth inning. Head to the bottom of the fifth. Stanford trails 1-0. And welcome back. Bottom of the fifth inning. Luke Lavin will step into the box. Seven, 8, 9. Lavin last time to the plate. Grounded out to short. Pitch is lifted. That'll be a base hit.
Well, you get on top of the baseball, good things happen.
And you mentioned that's one of the few times that the Cardinals put the ball on the ground. Everything else has been in the air.
We saw it with Eric Gian in the second inning when he lined one toward the hole toward left field, and the shortstop Massey made a great play, but that's what you want to do.
So Hott will step in. See how Stanford will play this. Will you try to bunt him up? Try to get the runner in scoring position.
This is definitely a bunt situation.
Lavin with the hit. He's number 16 on the season. Right off the glove with the second baseman. Fouled at the plate.
So Hott not bunting.
You know, it's interesting because, you know, we obviously grew up in the 80s. Baseball was different.
Yeah.
Guy on first, move a guy over, you bunt him around. You see it at all levels now. It's just not as a part of the strategy of teams now.
It has, to a large extent, disappeared from the landscape.
And I think there's so many opportunities, you know, at all levels to put pressure on the defense.
I'm still just fascinated at the number of pickoff throws against a team that does not steal bases. And a guy who is taking a very small lead at first base.
And one
He's
way
not
lead.
going anywhere.
Just grounded to third, comes in, bobbles, make the play to first. So just as good as a bunt.
Yep.
As the runner advances to second base. And that was 5-3. And that's only
the second ground out of the day.
Second ground out of the day.
And it's a play where Chipper Beck, the third baseman, thought about the double play and decided to play it safe, go across the diamond, as opposed to the play on the other side a couple innings ago where O'Haron, the Stanford pitcher, rolled the dice with the runner on the move, went to second, and it was successful. Stanford got the double play and kept him out of what could have been a big inning. So we'll see if that proves to be the right call for Utah Valley.
March, we have a big opportunity to come up with a solid base hit here to score the runner at second base to get Stanford on the board. One ball on the strike. Lavin, who's led off the inning with a single, the second baseman glove, Hamlin, pitches down. It was the first time that Stanford, Scott, has had their leadoff runner on the first 5 innings. So maybe this could be the opportunity to break out and at minimum level the game at 1. Pitch is lifted to left field. Will stay in the park. That will be the second out. Deandra makes the play in left field.
More fly balls.
So 2 outs. Runner at second. Lavin reached second on the ground out by Hunt. And there will be a conversation on the mound as Sasaki will step in. Left on left. I can't imagine them lifting
No,
Hepner at this point.
This is a discussion on how we want to pitch Sasaki with first base open.
Well, one thing that they know that Sasaki will swing and miss. But again, you cannot give him anything arm side in because he has the ability to change the game with one swing. So I'm sure that the conversation here is, listen, let's try to keep the ball away, low and away, see if we can roll over on it. Now, Sasaki, understanding that, will have to really zone in and look for a specific pitch. Something inner half, something that he can handle.
It's also an interesting situation where left-hand pitcher, left-hand batter, usually the lefty would rather go after the lefty as opposed to the right-hander on deck, but this is not your ordinary lefty.
This is not your ordinary. And this is, again, an advantage of having him in the leadoff. You give him more opportunities to swing, more chances at the plate. First pitch inside.
It's a good changeup. It's a good pitch.
Changing the eye level. Changeup, up and in. Sasaki did a great job of taking that pitch.
Oh, he went around.
So 1 ball and a strike. So the umpire did call a strike, as you mentioned earlier, the third base umpire.
So Hepner has not completed 5 innings in any of his 3 starts this season. 4 1/3, 4 2/3, 4 even. And if you count all the pickoff throws, he's already made 262 pitches today.
Well, I would say 264 if you're missing one. But he has been active. And he's been throwing strikes to second base as well, too.
Which, on some levels, the difference in the game.
Absolutely.
Pickoff throw.
We've seen how that can backfire as
right.
well. Nice change up down on way inside on the arm side for Sasaki. Finds himself trailing 1 ball and 2 strikes.
In case you joined us late, it was an errant pickoff throw by Quentin Marsh that led to the only run of this game.
In the dirt, blocked by Houston. Great job of keeping the ball in front, not allowing the runner to advance another 90 feet, because that changes the at-bat as well, too. Takes pitches away that you may want to throw. The fear of it getting in the dirt. Behind the catcher, there's a lot of room behind the dish. The sunken diamond. Pitcher swung on and missed. Curveball away, and that will be the strikeout. No runs, 1 hit. No errors, 1 runner left on as we head to the top of the 6th inning. Stanford finds himself trailing 1-0. Top of the 6th inning, Stanford trailing 1-0. The WAC Conference Utah Valley Wolverines sporting their black and gray uniforms this hot afternoon. Hey, I guess they didn't get the memo. But listen, I'm wearing black as well, too, so who am I to tell?
You didn't get the memo either.
I didn't get the memo as well. You didn't call and let me know. Top of the order for Utah Valley. 10-9 on the season. They lost their last 2 games to the University of Cincinnati. Beck, Katchke, and Carpenter. Beck is 0 for 2 so far. Grounded out to third, and there's a conversation happening between the umpire.
Yeah, I don't know what Nate Rasmussen is talking to the ump about before a pitch is even thrown. But he seems content and is now walking back to the Utah Valley dugout.
Well, it wasn't a dynamic discussion, so that's good. So Beck can step in. Mentioned earlier, grounded out. The third, his second time, and pop short. First pitch taken low and away. Ball 1. Stanford with 3 hits. Wolverines with 2 in an unearned run. They 1-0 lead. 2 balls and no strikes to Beck. And one thing that's been consistent is that when they get on, speaking of the Wolverines, they are very aggressive on the base pass. Pitches lined in the left field. That'll be the 3rd hit on the afternoon for the Wolverines. The first hit for Beck.
Beck looking every bit the part of a guy who's hitting .354.
And that's probably the most solid hit on both sides this afternoon. Katchke will step in. 296 coming into the game. On base 1,000. Played in 18 games, 16 hits, 4 doubles, leading the team with 7 home runs. Throw over to first. Runner gets back. Based on the results of this game, the Wolverines may be trying to put something on, getting the runners started earlier.
I do not think Katchke is bunting. That's one thing I'm fairly certain of.
I would agree.
Beck 3 out of 4 stealing bases this season.
And they've had success running all afternoon long, so they have a hefty lead, a healthy lead at first base. That's something that they've been able to do all afternoon long. They're getting their right foot right outside the cutout. That's a healthy lead. On the other hand, Stanford is inside the cutout, and they're throwing the ball over to first base, as you mentioned earlier. Swung on a miss, throw down. The slider down. Lavin trying to get back, snoozing at first base. Stanford has turned one double play this afternoon, another throw. Runner gets back. Did a great job of.
I am a fan of the Major League rules as they now exist.
With three, is that three
You
throws?
get 2 shots.
Two shots.
Two shots,
and
and then the third one, you either get him, or it's a balk, or it's runner gets second base.
Pitch on the outside corner called strike 2.
Speeds up the game.
Mike Mazza behind the plate. Chris Ingstron at first. Jose Montemaros at second. And Ryan Blyling at third.
I do like the college has gone to the pitch clock.
Oh, that helps a lot. In particular in a game like today. Low runs, low hits. Game continues to move forward.
Well, everybody wants a quick game when it's 100 degrees on
In the
field.
booth.
And in the booth.
Pitch is grounded wide of third. Top of the 6th inning, Utah Valley, members of the WAC conference, was picked second in the preseason. The 17 conference. 10-9 on the season so far. Trying to take the first of 4. Pitches on the outside corner. No. That will be a ball.
They've scheduled well. I mentioned earlier they haven't started WAC play yet because there are only 7 teams, but every game that they play this season outside of conference is against a Power 4 opponent.
Pitches fouled back over the screen. Yeah, you take a look at their schedule. They have San Bernardino Division II coming up, but right after that they play Utah, Bakersfield, D1, BYU, Sac State, Air Force, Utah Tech. They're beginning the conference.
Well, that's when they get into conference play, yeah.
Another throw over. Stanford on the other end, let's take a look at their schedule so far this season. Started off against number 24, Arizona. They won that 10-7. So it started off well.
Well, they lost 3 of 4 in that opening. Excuse me, they won 2 out of 4 that opening weekend. Those games that they played in Arizona, first in the tournament, and then the game against Nebraska. But they were in those games over the weekend. The 2 that they lost were both by 1 run. So I think they came home 2-2, but feeling pretty good about where they were. And Fullerton, they split the 4-game series, but Fullerton gave them some things to think about. And
Well, they were, on that note, they were 2-7 in March.
Yeah, well, ACC play.
Yeah, we talked about that, which is outside.
And this is a situation where you wonder if Warner isn't so consumed with the runner at first base, not making his pitch, and you have to make your pitch here. Good chance the runner's going,
You know, 3 balls, 2 strikes, full count.
no matter how many times you throw over. No,
Swung on and missed.
big pitch.
That will be the first out of the inning. Warren was able to get back into the count. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Get the strikeout. Now Carpenter will step in. Last time he singled, but he was doubled up. Throw in the dirt. Saki did a great job of digging that one out. As you recall, in the 2nd inning, that's how Wolverines was able to score. Strong got on a bad throw over, was able to get to second, stole third, overthrow, was able to score.
Ooh. Fastball looked good from here. Again, that outside corner.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier, I felt that when the left-hander was on the mound, he was very consistent on the arm side, inside corner, but he was not calling the pitch away. Lavin was hit on the foul tip at the plate.
You know, the other thing we, of course, don't know is how many of these pickoff throws are pitcher's discretion and how many are being called by the dugout.
Well, in this particular case here, we have to say that they're very aggressive on the base paths.
Yep.
So you have to keep them honest because they've been successful in terms of stolen bases this afternoon. So from that perspective,
I get it to a point, but none of these throws are in danger of actually picking anybody off. So if your goal is to simply let them know, hey, I'm keeping an eye on you, I'm keeping you close, you've done that by now, right? They know. I just don't know at some point whether the 7th and 8th pickoff throws with the same guy at first really do much, unless he's got a big lead or he's leaning or you think you can get him, but that doesn't seem to be the case.
well, the idea may be, hey, we can wear him out by consistently throwing over, take some of the steam out of his legs.
Maybe.
Pitch is lifted to left field. Tokheim is drifting back to the warning track. He'll make that catch. That'll be the second out of the inning. And that may be a strategy. Continue to throw over, take the steam out of his legs. Well, we'll never know.
We'll never know.
But what we do know is 2 outs. And Strong is at the plate, who's 1 for 2 so far. Strong came into the game 254.
Well, the other thing we know is we are 1 out away from the Stanford bullpen turning in maybe its best performance of the season to date. I mean, you'd be talking 6 innings, 1 unearned run. That's pretty stellar.
And that's what Coach Esker would like to see. I mean, you can grow off of that. You mentioned you had a chance to speak with him. He said this is going to be a bullpen game because, hey, listen, we have to do something different because what we've been doing hasn't worked so far. This may be a wake-up call on the message, but do consider that it is a doubleheader tomorrow. So that may have went into the strategy as well. You talked about Dugan.
Well, and you're going to need length from whoever your starters are tomorrow because it's a doubleheader, because you have 4 games in 3 days. You know, you've already used 2 of your primary relievers, 2 innings apiece, and now this is the 2nd inning for Warner.
And also consider, Scott, that it may be 85, 90 degrees
And maybe
tomorrow.
hot again tomorrow. Yeah.
So you got to take that into consideration.
And I don't know if any of these 3 pitchers we have seen so far will be available again tomorrow.
Pitch is grounded in the right field. That'll be a base hit. Nice placement by Mason Strong.
That was not hit hard, but found a hole.
As they say, you hit them where they ain't.
Hit them where they ain't.
This is the first time that we've had multiple hits in an inning in this game from both teams. Only 4 hits, only 7 hits total for both teams.
Well, Stanford will be just fine with that as long as there is not a 3rd hit in this inning.
Absolutely. You have Beck, who's at second base, who led off with a single. Katchke struck out. Carpenter fly to left. And Strong singled in the 3-4 hole for his 2nd hit on the afternoon.
93-mile-an-hour fastball off the plate.
1 ball, no strikes. Hamlin trying to deliver. Thumb down to first base. Hits the bag and...
Called it foul.
It
hit the green bag.
It hit the green bag.
That's the
Great
foul
call.
bag.
That's the foul bag. What do you think about that? Having that inside bag. That's kind of something new. This is college.
You know,
interesting.
I think it's probably for the best. I think that whatever you lose in terms of, you know, the traditional alignment of the base paths and not having kind of a goofy looking green bag out there, I think is outweighed by the safety, the security of you know, lack of collision at first base. Because guys can get really hurt,
Absolutely.
especially if the throw is errant and the first baseman has to go into the line and there's a tag. I mean, just so many bad things can happen that this takes a lot of that
Yeah,
out.
and baseball has changed over the years. You know, I was watching just some old replays, some of my age again, when the Royals was playing the New York Yankees in that fight at third base between Greg Nettles and, I mean, that was just George Brett. And, you know, the interesting thing about that, Scott, no one was thrown out. They just resumed the game.
Pine tar game?
No,
Not the Pine Tar.
Not the Pine Tar game. We'll get into that. That's how much baseball has changed.
Good
Pitch
pitch.
is outside.
Outside corner.
So it was during the playoffs. You always seen the Royals and the Yankees was in the playoffs. And there's a particular play at third base. George Brett slides into third, and man, they got into it. Greg Nettles and throwing haymakers. And so what happened, they cleared everything up. George Brett put his hat back on,
Went back to work.
went back to third base. Greg Nettles got his glove and said, okay, play ball. So baseball was, it's a yeoman's game back then, right? Getting been thrown out. Pitch is grounded to first. Saki did a great job of playing in front, and that will be the third out of the inning. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, 2 runners left on. Stanford, bottom of the 6th, trailing 1-0. Welcome back, bottom of the 6th inning. Klein Field, Sunken Diamond. Stanford trailing 1-0 in the bottom half of the 6th inning. And I tell you what, the one player that has answered the bell was Jacob Hepner so far. He's only given up 3 hits, 70 pitches thrown, and he's kept Stanford at bay all afternoon long.
Well, I mentioned before he had yet to complete 5 innings in any start this season, and here we are going to the bottom of the 6th. So this is uncharted territory this season for Hepner. It's like Carter Seeley, Utah Valley relief pitcher, starting to loosen just in case. This is a situation where even the manager does not know exactly how long Hepner can go.
2, 3, and 4 for the Cardinals. Tokheim, Bates, and Moran. And Hepner heard when you said that. He said, I'm going to show Scott.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see, Scott.
Look, if you're Stanford, this is the inning that you need to get something going.
Absolutely.
2, 3, 4 in the order. You're seeing a guy for the 3rd time through, a guy who has not yet seen lineups a 3rd time through.
He jumps ahead 0-1. Pitch outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. But yeah, he heard what he said, Scott. He said, I'm going to show you, Scott. I'm going to go 6 innings. Show you, buddy. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pitch is lifted to left field. That'll be in the park. And that will be the first out of the bottom of the 7th inning. And the outfielders have had plenty of
They have
action
been busy
this afternoon. I mean, this has been a clinic. You pitch up in the zone, and this is the results you get. That was a changeup that Tokheim was ahead of and lifted it to left field. Charlie Bates will step in.
2 groundouts, 1 strikeout, and everything else in the air.
First pitch strike to shortstop. I'm sure coach, the skipper, is pleased so far. 6 1/3 innings from his hurler. 1 ball and 1 strike. On deck is J.J. Moran. Checked at 5 1/3 innings. I was ahead of myself. One ball, 2 strikes. He has a shift on now.
They do indeed.
And this is where I'm just not a fan of the shift. Let's go back to traditional baseball. But as a hitter, if I see the shift, my job is to hit away from the shift, if possible. And that's what happened.
Or over the shift.
Or over the shift. There's a base hit. Right up through the batter's eye.
That's the fourth hit for Stanford, all singles. In fact, we haven't had an extra base hit in this game.
Yeah, both pitching staffs have done well. As you mentioned earlier, you have to tip your hat to Stanford so far. They've been outstanding. The bullpen game, the bullpen has delivered outside of the error, the unearned run. They've been spot on.
And we're going to get another Stanford reliever in the seventh, another right-hander.
J.J. Moran, first pitch taking a ball. Singled his last time up in the fourth inning. Clean single to right field. Pitch is lifted in the right center.
Stop me if you've heard this before.
And that will be caught by Smith.
At least they had to move for that one.
Right in the right center field, right by the 375 foot sign. Stayed in the park.
The contact has been a little bit louder, though, in this inning. Both fly balls pretty deep. And on a day like this,
it only takes one.
With this lineup, you know, you're inherently living a bit dangerously when you're pitching up in the zone. He's gotten away with it so far.
And that's a byproduct of Hepner, as you mentioned earlier. This is the longest he's pitched this season, so he may be becoming a bit fatigued. And this is their third time taking a look at him.
You got the pitch count over there on the stat broadcast?
It's not accurate because, you just never know with the stats, the internet, so it's kind of sketchy. I don't want to say something that's
Gotcha.
wrong. But
he's been efficient.
Right now, it's saying 80.
Okay,
Came into the inning with 70.
That sounds about right.
There's your favorite play in baseball.
Well, he was 3 feet off the bag. May as well drive him back.
Two outs, bottom of the sixth inning. Stanford trails 1-0. That's a great pitch down low. Great take by Jimmy Natai. The senior, 292 coming into the game.
7-game hit streak on the line.
Absolutely. And 5 home runs. Tied with the lead. In the dirt. Blocked by Houston. So, as you mentioned earlier, this is uncharted waters for Jacob Hepner. If he does not get Natai, this may be his last batter. And I can see that happening. 3 balls and a strike. Runner at first. Pitches lined into the bullpen. The Wolverines. Count now is full. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Runner at first. Bottom of the 6th inning. Stanford trails 1-0.
Stanford catches a small break here. Bates will be off with a pitch. Anything in the gap is going to score him.
Here's the pitch. Swung on and missed. And Hepner helps himself and gets out of the inning. No runs, 1 hit. No errors, 1 runner left on. As we head to the top of the 7th inning, Stanford trails 1-0.
Top of the 7th inning here at Sunken Diamond. Scott Reese back at the controls with Dr. Joaquin Wallace, as we have had a total of 1 unearned run and 8 hits in 6 complete innings of baseball, Stanford and Utah Valley. And the Cardinal will bring in its 4th pitcher of the afternoon, and that is the freshman Cole Peterson. Peterson 1-1 with an ERA of 4.76, 11 1/3 innings, 8 hits, 5 walks, 8 strikeouts. And he will pitch to 6, 7, and 8.
Thank you.
In the Wolverines lineup, Derek Houston, Jaden Smith, and Jimmy DeAnda.
Well, Scott, you missed one thing. You mentioned about the game. The amount of throwovers. I mean, you talked about everything else, but you didn't mention the 100 throwovers. I mean, the favorite part of the game that you enjoy.
And that is why
that's why the amnesia, you didn't want to mention that.
It's also why a 1-0 game with only 8 hits has still taken 2 full hours.
Well, I was just bringing attention that someone just tapped in. You said everything else. Well, you failed to mention the 100 throws and between both teams.
I will say this in case you have just tapped in. The 2 teams have done this in very different ways. For Utah Valley, it's been one guy, Jacob Hepner, with 6 masterful shutout innings. And Stanford has done it via the bullpen. Quentin Marsh, 2 innings, 1 unearned run. Torrin O'Haron, 2 scoreless. Parker Warner, 2 scoreless. And I am quite sure that the Stanford Brain Trust would be thrilled to get 2 scoreless from Cole Peterson. Derek Houston stands in, 231, 4 RBI. He has flied to right and grounded into a fielder's choice.
Also, remember, we only had 1 inning. We've had multiple hits.
There's a fly ball right field. Pretty well hit. Back goes Marsh to the wall. It carries, and it is gone. So on a very warm day here at Sunken Diamond, an opposite field blast that just kept carrying, and Houston deposits it over the 375 sign, and it's 2-0.
And just like that, we talked about the ability for left turns and create your own run. And for Houston, for the season,
first one.
That's his first one. Timely. So that's not the ideal start for the freshman, Cole Peterson.
So much for the 2 scoreless innings. So that'll bring up Jaden Smith, center fielder, 0 for 2, ground out and a strikeout. Third base, nice pick by Moran, and across the diamond.
Yeah, that was an outstanding play because that ball kind of took a bad hop. He was able to stay in and go through the baseball, making an outstanding play.
Well, Houston is a junior. That was his first career home run. And it comes off of a freshman, Cole Peterson, here at Stanford.
We talked about how the ball flies these type of days, and that was Stanford.
And we're going to get a pinch hitter here. It's Brody Brock. So he will bat for Jimmy DeAnda. Brock, 298, 1 homer, 14 RBI, and he takes a strike on the inside corner. Oh, and 2. The 0-2 from Peterson. Swung on and missed. Strike 3.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. The second out in the inning.
So Brody Block right back to the dugout from whence he came. And we'll get DJ Massey, the shortstop, with 2 outs.
Well, Scott, home runs are part of the game, but most importantly, at least there was no one on. So just a single home run, just one run on it.
Massey skies one to center field, and Ethan Hott will put it away for the final out. So one hit, but it was a very long hit. Solo home run by Derek Houston. And Utah Valley leads Stanford 2-0, heading bottom 7 at Sunken. Stretch time at Stanford. Cardinals still looking for their first run, still looking for their first base runner as far as third base. As Utah Valley leads 2-0, and Jacob Hepner is coming back out for the 7th. I would imagine with a short leash.
I was suspicious of that as well. A full 6 innings, pitched with a 2-0 lead.
Eric Gian will lead it off. Brady Block stays in the game to play left field for the Wolverines.
And he hasn't really had a lot of stressful innings, so
No runners at third base.
I'm sure that's part of the decision to allow him to come out.
It is, however, a very warm day, and again, a guy who hasn't gone as many as 5 all season. So, like I said, I'm sure the leash is short.
I would imagine to get the tying run on, he will be done.
One or two base runners, and I think you are correct. John robbed of a base hit by the shortstop Massey in the 2nd, fly to center in the 4th, and now has a 1-1 count.
He's been around the strike zone all afternoon long.
Yeah.
Pitching to contact, as you mentioned earlier, a lot of fly balls.
2 walks.
2 walks.
2 strikeouts.
Only a handful of ground balls.
That's a strike on the inside corner.
So he has definitely answered the call in his first game of 4, and that definitely takes the strain off of your bullpen the deeper he can go.
2-2 to John.
I can't imagine him going to get the tying run to the plate. I want him to leave with positive experience.
And he's worked a full count. Junior from Fullerton. Starting his 6th game of the year for Stanford. Hitting .310, 4 homers, 6 RBI, and the payoff pitch is upstairs, ball 4. And we will see if there is any more leash for the Wolverine starter. 3rd walk of the afternoon. And they're going to give him one more batter, I would imagine partially because Luke Lavin is left-handed. You got a lefty-lefty matchup. There is also a meeting at the mound, which could always be a stalling tactic to get a relief pitcher completely ready. So we'll see.
It's only the 2nd time that Stanford has got their leadoff man on. First time it was not able to, that was Lavin, was not able to come around and score. Lavin's base hit his last time at the plate. Clean single in the right field.
Yeah.
So he's stepping to the plate with confidence. 1 for 3 so far.
See if the bottom of the Stanford order can string some hits together. Lavin takes a strike, fastball right down Broadway. 86 on that pitch, so he's definitely lost a little bit of steam on the fastball. It's up closer to 90 in the early innings. That's a good pitch. Slider makes it 0-2.
Yeah, getting out in front. 0-2, so he doesn't want to give in. The shift is on again for the Wolverines. Lavin can just pepper it. Third baseline, you have a base hit.
Just off the plate. That evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
There's an opportunity here. Definitely this will be his last batter, regardless of what happens.
Oh, that was really close.
That's a great eye by the catcher. So he understands the zone. And he understands that pitch has not been called
all day. That
all
has
day.
not been called to left-handers, that outside corner. You're absolutely right. We'll see what Stanford does here with a runner aboard 3-2. And Hepner thinking the same thing. Going to chase John back to first base.
And that's an interesting, because think about it. He's the catcher. He understands the umpire's zone.
Yeah.
So if that would have been a strike, then that would have been a conversation when he comes back out.
3-2 pitch, chopped to second base. Nice play by Mason Hamlin. He goes across the diamond. He throws it.
So there was no one covering third.
There was no one
of the
covering
shift.
third. I was going to say the throw was fine. He got the out, but there was nobody covering third.
So
that's a big mistake. John goes all the way to third base.
And so that is the perils of the shift.
Right, the shift.
Because they were shifted over, and the third baseman was not able to get over.
And super heads up by Eric John to recognize.
Absolutely, because he just kept running. Now the infield is in.
Now the infield is in, and so is Hepner. He's going to pitch to Ethan Hott, who lines one into right field, and it's going to be caught by Carpenter. John tags and scores. Stanford is on the board on a sacrifice fly by Ethan Hott. So the mistake defensively by Utah Valley cost them a run, as Stanford's defensive miscues cost them a run in the second inning.
And I'm sure that's something that they go over, that you have to get back to third base, the third baseman, Chipper Beck. But it just happened so fast that he didn't realize, and like you said, John did a great job of recognizing that and just kept going.
It was also a situation, there were a lot of things going on, because it could have been a double play ball. And the second baseman, Hamlin, opted, as we have seen a couple of times during this ball game, to take the sure out at first.
What you're supposed to do in that situation with the lead.
With the lead.
You want to get the sure out. That's right in front of you.
But if he goes to second, even if he doesn't get him, the guy's not on third. It just, there was a lot of moving parts on that play.
Absolutely. But it was a tricky hop. He came in and caught it.
Yes.
And so I'm sure he was more concerned, hey, let me just get the sure out, versus possibly throwing, because the runner would have been in his throwing areas, in his lane as well, too. So that may have come into play. So you always tell you guys, let's get the sure out, and we'll play from there. But typically, the shift is something that you don't factor in in that situation.
It complicates everything.
It complicates everything.
All right, so Tatum Marsh is the batter. It's 2-1 Utah Valley. 1-2 pitches high and away. And that's low ball 3, so Marsh has worked a full count.
And that was a good-looking pitch. As Hepner was starting to walk off the field along with his first baseman.
3-2 is fouled off. Marsh, a walk and a fly to left. Still on the interstate with that batting average, 186.
And there's no activity in the bullpen, so I'm sure whoever's going to come in is ready to go. You typically see someone throwing.
Fly ball left center field. Block and Smith converge. It'll be Block, and the inning is over. But Stanford scratches across a run on a defensive miscue by the Wolverines. They'll take it. It's 2-1 Utah Valley. 8th inning coming up. Eighth inning here at Sunken Diamond. Scott Reese, Dr. Joaquin Wallace. And my broadcast partner asked for a 2-1 game. He's got a 2-1 game.
That would seem like so many moons ago. We are at 2-1. But we'd rather seen the Cardinal with the 2, but we may be 3-2 now. You never know. But this has been a well-played game outside of 2 errors in the 1 inning. Gave the Wolverines their unowned run, but Stanford was able to scratch one together. Jones did a great job of running the bases, and the sacrifice fly was able to score in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Top of the order in the top of the 8th. Chipper Beck will lead it off. Beck popped out to short, ground out to third, and singled in the 6th. And he takes a strike.
And I'm sure Beck would like to atone for that mental lapse in that bottom half because he did not get to third to cover.
Fouled away again down the right field line. Those kids down that right field line have had a lot of souvenirs this
It's been
afternoon.
a reoccurring theme.
It's like 2 per kid.
2 per kid was been reoccurring. Fouls down the right field line, fly balls, and throwovers to first base.
Appeal at first, no swing, so 1-2. To the Wolverine leadoff hitter. Checks in at 367. 1 homer, 13 RBI. Fastball low, and it is 2-2. First of 4 games this weekend between Stanford and Utah Valley. They'll play 2 tomorrow and 1 on Monday. Skies one to shallow center field. Ethan Hott coming in, had to go a long way and actually does the stop, drop, and roll after making the catch. Nice play by Hott. 1 out.
Cue to music.
Stanford will return to ACC play next weekend at Virginia Tech. Here's Hunter Ketchke. Takes a strike on the outside corner. 7 home runs on the season, 5 of them coming in the last 10 games. For Stanford, it's been Quentin Marsh for 2 innings, Torin O'Haron for 2, Parker Warner for 2, and now Peterson, and another fly ball, this one to deep center field, and this one is gone. So right on cue, Ketchke homers for the 6th time in 11 games. And the run that the Wolverines gave to Stanford in the bottom of the 7th, they get right back in the top of the 8th.
And we talked about the shutdown innings, and that's the 2nd home run given up by the freshman since entering the game. And just like that, as you mentioned earlier, they're back to their 2-run lead.
So on a day prone to the long ball, we hadn't seen any through 6 innings. Now we've seen 2 in the last 2.
The Wolverines are beating Stanford at their own game.
And we're going to have a conference on the mound that does not involve a Stanford coach. At least not yet. There is action in the Cardinal bullpen. What would be a 5th straight right-hander is warming up.
So you have 2 home runs. One was right center field, and this was just a shade over the batter's eye, center field. And the flags are not moving, and there is the conference on the mound, so
Yeah.
I'm sure that was
a stall.
This is a stall tactic. Allowing to go out and talk to the young hurler. And as they look down, and there is the call.
We're going to get the call. And it is Cassius Thomas who will come into the game, and we'll tell you all about him, Stanford's 5th pitcher of the afternoon, after a quick timeout. So Cassius Thomas becomes the 5th Cardinal pitcher of the day. 5 relief pitchers in succession. This will be his 10th appearance. That leads the team. Record of 0-1, ERA of 5.4, 8 in the third innings. Giving up 13 hits, 6 strikeouts, 4 walks.
We talked about the opportunity for the bullpen game for the Cardinal. Despite the 3 runs, I still think they have been highly effective overall.
Yeah, 2 long balls are the difference in the game. 2 swings of the bat by Derek Houston and Hunter Katchke for Utah Valley. We close the book on Colt Peterson. 1 1/3 for the Cardinal. 2 hits, both homers. The 2 runs, 1 strikeout. But there's still work to be done. The 3-hitter Caden Carpenter, who's hitting .301 with 4 jacks. He's a big kid. Stands in from the left side. And Carpenter with a home run hack, but he came up empty.
Yeah, he was not wasting any time. Good on good there.
Certainly cannot pin today's result to this point on the pitching staff, as you mentioned. Bunch of bullpen guys, and they've been quite good aggregately. The offense has not held up its end of the bargain.
Yeah, you got to tip your hat. I mean, they came into the game, didn't know what to expect, and they pretty much kept the Cardinal in the game. Take one of the runs away in terms of the unearned run, but a couple of home runs has been the difference so far, and Hepner has just been outstanding on the mound for the Wolverines.
There's a fly ball left field. That's carrying. Tokheim to the track, and he will put it away for the second out.
What is lost in that play by Tokheim is that he went back to the wall. He didn't drift. Went back and then came in with a tall glove and made the catch. It's kind of a lost art these days and just catching fly balls.
Well, Mason Strong, only player in this ball game with multiple hits today. He's got 2 singles. Came around to score the first run of the game on the comedy of errors that was not funny, according to David Esker, in the second inning.
Yeah, I'm sure that he wasn't laughing.
(3-1) Utah Valley, top of the 8th inning. Cassius Thomas fouled back our way.
Were you ready for that one?
I was ready for that one. The line drives, I'm all over. It's the pop-ups that confuse me.
I'm looking at it right there, Scott. I need like not a dry eraser. I need like a permanent ink.
Yep, here you go. I got a Sharpie. You want to sign?
Yeah, I'm sharp it right there. I'm gonna sign that right there. There it is. I was here. Circa 2026.
2-1 to Strong is upstairs, 92 miles an hour. Stanford trying to find its way after losing 8 of the last 10. Swing and a miss, strike 3. So nice job by Thomas. And the side is retired, but damage done, courtesy of Hunter Katchke's 8th home run of the season. Stanford down to its final 6 outs. It's 3-1 going bottom 8. Utah Valley, bottom 8 on a toasty day here at Sunken Diamond. And if Stanford's going to get something going, Now would be the time. Top of the order, Rintaro Sasaki, Teddy Tokheim, and Charlie Bates due up for the Cardinal.
And again, this is an opportunity. Why do you lead off Sasaki? Well, you're getting more bites at the apple.
And Jacob Hepner is still on the mound, probably in no small part because of the matchup with Sasaki, the left-hander who struck out in his last at-bat as the hitter. And he bounces one foul. Quickly 0-2.
Outside of him being behind 3-1, the first at time that he faced Sasaki, got him a ground out, first base. He's been in pretty much control of those at-bats.
This has been a masterful performance by Jacob Hepner. The 0-2, soft outside, 1-2.
Changing speeds, changing the eye level. Sure to try to keep it low in a way so they can have him roll over on one. There it is there. Nice take by Sasaki.
This time around, I have to think this is the last hitter for Hepner. I know you said that in the last inning. Again, the guy hasn't gone more than 5 all season. Here we are in the 8th. He's got to be up around 100 pitches.
I've said it the last 3.
Well, Sasaki fouls one away.
And he keeps proving both of us wrong.
Well, I said in the last inning I wouldn't be surprised if he came back out to pitch to Sasaki. I would be surprised if he pitches to Tokheim.
But again, he heard what you said in the 6th inning and said, I'm going to show Scott. You said I only 5 1/3.
I'm not sure it's his call then.
Let me show you. There
And Sasaki drills one toward the pool. That is long gone. And maybe one batter too many for Jacob Hepner.
And there it is. And I'm sure it's going to be a quick walk to the mound. But as you mentioned earlier, he has the ability to create his own run. And that was gone in a hurry.
6th home run of the season for Rintaro Sasaki. Absolutely no doubt off the bat. Smoked it over the Stanford Federal Credit Union sign, and that will, in fact, be the end of the line for Jacob Hepner, who pitched a gem. 7 innings, 2 runs, only 1 was earned. But Sasaki got him. We've got a 1-run ball game and a call to the bullpen. Back to Sunken after this. The new pitcher for Utah Valley is Cooper Littledike, senior right-hander who has pitched well in 7 innings. He's given up just 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 walks, 7 strikeouts. That equates to a 2.57 earned run average. And he will be tasked with holding a 1-run lead for at least the next 3 outs, potentially as a bridge to their closer, Aaron Rice. But Sasaki has injected some life into this place. Stanford dugout doing their jumping jack routine now to the Billy Squire music here. And there hadn't been a lot to cheer about for the Stanford faithful the entire afternoon. All of a sudden, they're one swing away from tying this thing.
Well, it's been a game of home runs. 2 home runs by the Wolverines. First one on the afternoon for the Cardinal. We knew that based on the weather and how this ballpark plays, that the baseball will fly. We have 3 home runs so far.
Slider for strike 1 to Teddy Tokheim, who has singled, popped out to first, flied out to left. And on the hands, 1-1.
So Stanford has a chance, no outs, to tack on another run.
High in the air, it'll be DJ Massey, the shortstop, for the first out.
So being ahead by 1 run is definitely different from being ahead by 2 runs, because now 1 pitch away, the game could be level at 3.
Second year in the program for Little Dyke, the fifth-year senior. And there's a shot golf to straightaway center. Jaden Smith back about 5 steps and makes the catch to retire Charlie Bates.
So Little Dyke is tasked to get out of this inning to shut this down, shut the water off, see if his team can come in and tack on a run or two at the top of the 9th inning.
J.J. Moran will step to the plate, 333, 4 home runs on the season, 13 driven in, and there's a shot to shortstop. The shift was on, but it was still right at Massey, who throws across the diamond in time, and the side is retired. 1 run on 1 very loud hit. 6th home run of the year by Rintaro Sasaki. We got a 3-2 ball game heading top 9 here at Sunken Diamond. Top of the 9th inning here, Stanford down 3-2 as Utah Valley will send Mason Hamlin, Derek Houston, and Jaden Smith to the plate against Cassius Thomas, who came in the 8th to get the final 2 outs. Try and keep this a 1-run game and give the Cardinal a chance for a little walk-off magic in the bottom of the 9th.
I mentioned earlier, Thomas did a great job coming in after the home run was given up by Katchke, and he was able to hit Carpenter and Strong consecutive outs.
Scoreboard extremely binary. 0 or 1 in every half inning as we play ball in the 9th. Thomas, hot shot towards second. Jimmy Nadai bobbles, still has time to throw, and Sasaki came off the bag. The throw was a little bit high, wasn't drastically high, but the bobble made it closer than it should have been initially. And Sasaki lifted his foot momentarily, and that made the difference.
And that's another error, the 3rd one. And again, you can't give teams extra outs. That's 30 outs total that they've given the Wolverines in this game. See if the Stanford able to turn a double play to get out of it.
Derek Houston hit an opposite field home run in his last at-bat. That off of Colt Peterson.
So with that being said, it's probably hard-pressed to think that he's going to sacrifice to move the runner up.
Well, it was also his first career home run. I don't think he's a guy who you expect to be a long ball threat, but he's not bunting.
If he keeps his hands inside the baseball and let the ball travel just a tad, he has a nice hole. That 3-4 hole is wide open.
The 1-1. Fastball upstairs.
And so this is where the cat and mouse comes into play. Thomas understands that based on the alignment, he has to keep the ball inside, do not allow Houston to extend his arms.
There's a soft liner to short, could be two. Nadi the turn, strong throw to first, and that is a Cardinal double play. Bates, Nadi, Sasaki erase the error, 2 down.
And that's great pitching. As I mentioned earlier, he understands where his deep is in the line, so he had to make sure to keep the ball on the arm side. Fastball in, got it in on the hands, and got a double play.
Jaden Smith 0 for 3. A couple of groundouts and a strikeout. 92 just upstairs. Thomas will work in that 90 to 92 range with the fastball. So far, done a very nice job. Boy, that looked awfully good.
Definitely peppering the glove. I mean, you hear it popping all the way up here.
And a pitch that looked less like a strike than the previous one makes it 2-1. Reiterating, we don't have a monitor, so we are going from the eyeball test from behind the umpire. Ground ball to short. Bates, Sasaki, inning over. So an error and nothing else for the Wolverines.
Okay.
Stanford's got 3 outs left, down 3-2 here on a warm day at Sunken Diamond. It'll be Jimmy Natai leading things off for Stanford in the bottom of the 9th inning, down by 1 against Cooper Littledyke, who starts Natai off with a strike on the outside corner. Defensive change for Utah Valley. Trenton Rowan takes over at third base for Chipper Beck. Slider, strike 2.
And typically when you come in on the defensive side, the ball typically finds you first. So let's see if that holds true. Just something about baseball, how it always works out, Scott.
Fouled back. Of course, the ball hasn't found many infielders all day.
That'd be true. Maybe a pop. Maybe
a pop up to
maybe
third.
a pop
Right.
up to third. But that may be true because there's been a ton of outfield action this afternoon.
Swing and a miss. Foul tip held on by Houston. Strike 3, 1 out.
Looked like he took a little off of that slider. He was out in front.
Yep.
Or they call it nowadays a sweeper.
Here's Eric John. Well, you know, we speculated earlier with all these balls in the air on this day at this park, eventually some of those balls were going to fly over the fence.
And you were right.
And they have.
And you were right. 3 of them have.
And Stanford needs a 4th. Gian's a guy who can give it to him. He does have 4 long balls this year.
And then Lavin is on deck.
Those 4 homers in just 27 at-bats.
You know, this is the first time that these two teams have locked horns in the history.
This is, in fact, the first game that the Utah Valley program has ever played at an ACC school. They did play at Cal a couple of years ago, but that's when Cal was still in the Pac-12. One and 2 to Gian. Hot shot down the left field line. That is a fair ball. Gian going to round first. He's going to motor towards second base, and the throw will be cut off, not in time, and Stanford has the tying run in scoring position with one out.
Outside of the home run, that's the first extra base hit we've seen
The whole game?
the whole game.
Either team. 3 homers and a double. And now Gian will give way to Philip Chong as a pinch runner.
Lavin has a chance here to walk it off, or at minimum, level the match at 3.
Well, you talked about how big a difference the ninth inning feels, 3-1 versus 3-2. That home run by Sasaki substantially increased Stanford's chances of getting even in this ballgame.
Definitely changes.
Lavin skies one left center field. Back goes Jaden Smith toward the gap, and he is not going to get there. It's off his glove. This will tie the game as Chong scores, and Luke Lavin with an RBI double. It's 3-3.
So Smith gave chase, had it right off the glove, ran into the wall, and just like that, on one swing, the game is now tied. Stanford has a chance now to walk it off.
And we're going to have a pitching change, I do believe. Haven't gotten the signal yet.
Well, I do believe if Stanford, well, let's say hypothetically, if Utah was to win this game, Hepner does not get the win.
No, he officially cannot win it.
So you have that. So it was a great effort by him, indeed.
It will go down as a no decision. And right now, Cooper Littledyke and Cassius Thomas would be the pitchers of record for their respective clubs. Well, Littledyke's going to stay in there. And we'll see if Ethan Hott, who has been relatively hot, is in fact the batter, or if David Esker goes to his bench.
Well, he has 1 RBI on the sac fly, and that came in the 7th inning. On the heads-up play by Jones, going from first to third, and the ground ball to second.
Hott does have multiple hits in back-to-back games entering today. He's now in 9 of 10 games this season with an official at-bat. So, chance to be a hero. A base hit could win this game. Tying run at second, 1 out. And that hit him. Which is not really all that consequential at this point in the inning, barring a sudden bout of wildness and you start walking guys. But the winning run's at second, the runner on first is irrelevant, and that does set up a double play. In fact, there are some situations where you might put the guy on and set that double play up anyway. So now Stanford's going to go to its bench, and we're going to see Court McDonald, who is a left-hand hitter, with a chance to walk this thing off for the Cardinal. And of course, looming on deck, oh, by the way, is Sasaki,
who started all the shenanigans in the 8th inning with the home run, leading off the 8th inning. And how big was that home run? Because now Stanford has a chance, and it's only 1 out.
And that pitch gets away, and both runners are going to advance.
So now, Scott, I would walk the bases loaded in this situation.
To get to him?
That's a great choice. I mean, you know what? You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I totally didn't see him looming over there. I know you mentioned it earlier, but now they're going to talk about strategy here.
Yeah, I mean, I think you pitch carefully, but I don't think.
Yeah, at this point, no, you can't do that. Now, if he would have been in the box, definitely put him on.
Of course.
But this is great now because
fly ball wins the game.
Yeah, and Court McDonald know they have to pitch to him.
Fly ball wins the game. In fact, the outfield is still pretty deep. Usually they play in a lot further in this situation because any ball hit that deep, the game's over anyway. It's going to be a sacrifice fly. It's 2-0. And again, I imagine they will be somewhat careful with McDonald, but you're not going to intentionally put him on base with Sasaki on deck.
You have to be around the plate, but Court McDonald,
It's ball 3.
if I'm Coach Esker, I'm putting the take sign on a couple of times here. Little Dyke has been wild in this bottom of the 9th inning.
And there's ball 4. So pull up a chair and spend some time with us, as the late great Vin Scully would say. Bases loaded, 1 out, bottom of the 9th inning, and Rintaro Sasaki at the plate.
And that wasn't, they didn't put him on intentionally,
No.
but they definitely did not give him anything to hit. So, as I was mentioning to put him on, they put him on. Now Sasaki has a chance here.
Somebody really needs to explain to the outfielders that with 1 out in this situation, I don't care if Babe Ruth is at the plate, you can't play near the warning track.
But I'm sure they're going to come in at this point.
They should be
have
coming
to.
in a lot. And that is going to end this game. Sasaki drills it center field. It's going to go down as a walk-off single. It would have been extra bases, but Stanford, with 2 in the 9th, comes back to win, courtesy of Rintaro Sasaki.
And it all started the bottom of the 8th inning. The home run by Sasaki, as I mentioned earlier, is 3-1 is totally different from 3-2. And Stanford was able to play 2 to get the first of 4, and the first time these two teams matched up, so Stanford 1-0 in their all-time matchups.
How good does that feel for a struggling ball club that went to its bullpen for 9 innings today, and all told got a tremendous performance from that staff to come back, get the bats going just in a nick of time with a home run and then some timely hitting in the 9th, and they walk it off.
Well, Hepner did a great job.
Yeah, he was
First and
fantastic.
foremost, he was outstanding. So you can't say anything about him. He showed up big time. But the bullpen for the Wolverines let them down. Stanford bullpen was solid throughout, although they gave up a couple of home runs. But as I mentioned earlier, there were solo home runs. So that doesn't hurt you as much versus having 2-run and 3-run home runs. So you look at that from that perspective, they did a great job of keeping their team in the game. They was able to get their home run in the 8th inning, and then they was able to deliver 2 in the 9th for the victory.
Cassius Thomas gets the win for the Cardinal. His first of the season, he improves to 1-1, and Cooper Littledyke falls to 1-1. He takes the loss. And I will leave you with this, my friend. I think I mentioned early on, this was my 3rd Stanford baseball broadcast of this season. Both of the first 2, the final score was 4-3. Today's final, 4-3.
And something to that. Maybe you need to come back for tomorrow with a doubleheader.
I am your 4-3 guy. No, I'll be doing women's basketball tomorrow, actually, and I promise you that will not be 4-3.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
That is your final score here at Sunken Diamond. Stanford with a walk-off victory against Utah Valley. Games 2 and 3 in the series tomorrow. Game 4 coming up on Monday. Thanks to my man, Dr. Joaquin Wallace, for hanging out for the last 3 hours. I'm Scott Reese. It's been a blast. Stanford a winner. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. This has been ACC Baseball on ACC Network Extra.